Welcome to Rambam. We are learning the laws, the Holy Temple. And we are in chapter 8. There's a positive commandment, positive mitzvah, to guard the temple. This mitzvah applies even though there is no fear of enemies or thieves, for the guarding of the temple is an expression of respect for it. A palace with guards is much more impressive than a palace without guards. Huh. Buckingham Palace. I wonder where they got this idea from. Huh? All comes from Torah, right? That's where it comes from. Okay. The Kohanim and the Levites shall serve as guards, as the verse says, and you and your sons shall be before the tent of testimony. You shall keep watch over it. Referring to Aaron and his sons. And shall keep watch over it. And the Levites shall watch over the tent of meeting, bringing just different verses to prove it, which states that Moshe and Aaron and his sons shall camp before the sanctuary towards the east, and they will be guardians of the holy watch. Anyone who nullifies the watch transgresses a negative commandment, as the verse says, and you shall take care to keep the holy watch. Any form of the verb shamar, take care, implies a warning against transgressing a negative commandment. Thus, guarding the temple fulfills a positive commandment, and nullifying its watch represents a violation of negative commandment. So you both have positive and negative commandment here. The mitzvah of guarding the temple is as follows. The Kohanim stood guard from the inside and the Levites from the outside. 24 groups of guards stood watch over it continuously each night in 24 different places. The Kohanim stood guard in 3 places and Levites in 21 places. Hold on. I'm not clear what that means. Okay. I'm going to show a picture here, is it? No. Okay. Where do they keep watch? So the Kohanim kept watch in the chamber of Avitas over here. This picture. Number 44. Shar HaNitzites, this chamber of the spark, which is over here. And the chamber of the earth, which is yeah, is over here. Those are the 3 places. Okay. So the chamber of the Avitas and the chamber of the spark were 2-story structures built at the sides of the gates of the temple courtyard. Right here. One here, one over here, right? See it? Right, so they're on, and the young priests kept watch there. The chamber of the earth was a large dome structure, right? This is over here, much larger. Surrounded on the inside with projections of stone. The elders of the priestly watch of the day slept there, and the keys of the temple courtyard in their hands. The Kohanim was on watch did not sleep in the priestly garments. Instead, they folded them. Right, so they didn't sleep in priestly garments. Instead, they folded them, placed them in, at their heads, and wore their own clothes when they went to sleep. Right, because when they were sleeping, they weren't doing the service, so they can only wear those clothes for the service. So they wore their own clothes. Yeah, they brought their own PJs. In other words, PJs were not provided. They slept on the ground. It's customary for all those who stand watch over the courtyards of the kings not to sleep on beds. Right, since their job was the watch, but here they were off duty, I guess, at that time, right? So they wouldn't sleep on a bed, they'd sleep on the ground. Interesting. If one of them had a seminal mission in his sleep, he would proceed down the winding underground stairwell. So this is over here. They were sleeping over here. So there was a stairwell that they would take. There was no prohibition involved because the underground stairway passages that opened up to the portion of the Temple Mount outside the courtyard were not consecrated, right? Because they were not sleeping in a holy area. So, right there, they would immerse themselves in the mikvah. They would then return and sit among his fellow priests until the gates were opened in the morning. At that time, they would leave and proceed to their own affairs. Consists of 3 guards. 3 guards? Okay. Thank you. Okay. Okay, where would the Levites watch? Inside 5 gates of the Temple Mount, at the 4 corners of the wall surrounding the Temple Mount, from the inside, at the outside of the 4 corners of the Temple courtyard, or is forbidden to sit in the Temple courtyard. At the outside of 5 of the 7 gates of the Temple courtyard, where the Kohanim stood watch at the 2 remaining gates, the chamber of the earth and the gate of the spark, as we said. Right, a total of 18 locations. Yeah, I'm not going to show it on the thing over here right now. Okay. They also stood at the chamber of the sacrifice, the chamber of the paraiches, and behind the Holy of Holies. An overseer was appointed over all of the watch guards, and he was called the officer of the Temple Mount. Throughout the night, he checked on all of the watches. Torches were lit before him. If a guard did not stand before him and greet him, peace be unto you, shalom aleichem, right? The officer of the Temple Mount right? Oh, sorry. Peace be unto you, officer of the Temple Mount. That's what he would have to say. He would assume that he was sleeping, and he would strike him with his staff. He even granted permission to burn a sleeping guard's clothing. Psh, pretty serious stuff if you're, fell asleep on duty. Thus was customary, commonly said in Montreal, in Jerusalem, what is the noise in temple courtyard at night? It must be the voice of the Levite being beaten and his clothes burned because he slept on his watch. Wow. Doesn't sound very PC for our day and age, huh? Give them some slack. No, no slack. I mean, smack. You got a smack, not a slack. Yeah. In the morning, shortly before dawn, the overseer of the sanctuary came and tapped to awaken the priest sleeping in the chamber of earth. When they opened the gate for him, they took the keys and opened a small gate leading to the chamber of earth at the temple courtyard. Then they entered the courtyard. The priests followed him. They took two torches of fire in their hands and divided into two groups. One proceeded eastward, one westward. Right, so this is where we're talking about over here, this chamber over here. And then they would go east is this way, west is that way. All right. Then they entered the courtyard and the priests followed him. They had yeah, okay. We said that. They walked on, checking the entire temple courtyard. Coming in here, checking everything here. Right. This is the temple courtyard. Including everything here. Right. Then they entered the courtyard. 1 second. Sorry. East from them, they walked the entire temple courtyard. Both groups then met and reached the chamber of the bakers of the Chavitim. Both groups reached a point declared, peace be unto you, everything is at peace. Afterwards, they prompted the bakers of the Chavitim to begin their work. 1 second. Okay. So interesting. They did that. So it's from this point on, right? This is the Azara. So one group went this way, and one group went this way. They had a much longer going westward, going along and checking everything. They had much more to, and then they would meet over here by 17, right here by the entrance, Shar Nicanor, and checking to make sure everything was okay. And yeah, okay. Now this pattern was followed each night except on Shabbos Eve. Then they did not hold torches in their hands because it was Shabbos. Rather, they checked by the light of the candles that remained burning from the Shabbos Eve. Rachmana, Rachmana Deseatan. Blessed be God who grants assistance. We finished the laws of the Beis Hamikdash. Now we go into the laws. It's Klei HaMishkan. Mikdash. Let's just do a little bit over here. This is the vessels, the implements of the base of Mikdash. They contain 4 dimensions, 6 positive and 8 negative. To prepare the oil for anointment, to make the oil like it, not to anoint oneself with it, not to prepare the compound of spices after the formula of the incense, not to offer on the golden altar anything but the incense, to bear the ark on the shoulder. That the stabs of the ark should not be removed from it, that Levites shall serve in the sanctuary, that no one in the sanctuary shall do work assigned to another, to consecrate the priest Kohen for the service, and on the festivals all the divisions shall take part equally in the services, to put on the priestly vestments of the service, the Kohen robes shall not be rent, meaning torn, and the breastplate should be not loosened from the ephod. These mitzvahs explained in the following chapters. So let's just do one halacha. It's positive command to prepare the anointing oil so that it be ready to use for those articles that require anointing. And it shall make it and the oil of a sacred ointment. Okay. All right, folks. Thank you very much. Amazing day.
Thank you.
Thank you.